Cincinnati, a 6'6 senior from Long Beach, California, number 33, Terry Nelson. At center for Cincinnati, a 6'10 senior from Monrovia, California, number 44, Corie Blount.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Hey, let's talk about it. Legends Unplugged, what's the deal? Speaking bluntly with C Blount and NIL. We tell it how it is and all due respect. The UC Connect, them Bearcats, we rep, elevate, graduate, we the final two. Still at it like we did the final four back in 92. Let's talk about it. Legends Unplugged with T. Nelson and C Blount. Yeah, let's talk about it.
At Cincinnati, they get after.
Man, let me tell you something.
Man, play that intro again.
Man, stop it. I got to start this off with my take charge of the day because, during the games, a lot of people text me, whether it be Facebook Messenger, direct message text, Instagram, X. They text me during the game. People got questions. Man, did you see that? Why is he putting this lineup in? Why is he doing that? And so I entertain it during commercial breaks. And I don't mind it. I don't mind the conversation back and forth because it makes it interactive. Mm-hmm. What gets me is the next day. The next day, it'd be like 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock a.m. We haven't seen each other since the previous game, or we haven't talked to each other. It's a whole nother sundown, sun up, a whole nother time to communicate with your people. You would think some of these son of guns would know how to say good morning. Hello, how you doing? T-Nail, what's up, my man? They get right into it. Man, I hope Tillery stays. I really like Tillery. You think Wes gonna get fired? Like, this is the first thing they saying at 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock. You think Wes gonna get fired? You think Tillery gonna stay around? You think? And I'm sitting over there, and I've trained myself to not even respond. I don't even respond to my children when they message me, and they don't say, hi, Daddy, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever. Right. How's your day going? Is there something that, you need me to do something? Before you ask me for something, before you give a request, acknowledge the person.
Man, I promise I won't do it no more. Man, you got to realize you are first contact. You're there, so of course people, including myself, are going to blow you up to get your.
I don't mind it. Did you just hear? See, you ain't even listening.
Yeah, but I get it. But before I say how you doing, I want to get my question to you first. Are you watching what I'm watching? And you usually casually say, yeah, I'm watching it, man. And then you give your input, but I usually don't say how you doing, Terry. And
that's the damn problem. That's why I'm talking about it.
My guy, we got to be a little more sensitive now.
That's why we talk. I'm just saying, man.
I get it.
There's a decay in how we communicate as people to other humans. It's like we want something so bad that it has to be about the person asking the question opposed to the person you're asking the question to. I mean, what's wrong with just saying, hey, what's going on, my man? Hey, are you watching this game?
No question.
They just get straight into it. I'm just like, come on, man. I know you had to be taught better than this. I know you've modeled up, whether your parents taught you this, whether a coach taught you this, a mentor, a spiritual advisor. You've seen enough people communicate. Right. Now, in the movies and dramas and sitcoms and all that, they don't do that. So a lot of people watch a lot of TV, and it just sort of conditions their mind and how they respond to people. But when you're dealing with people, what's wrong with saying, good morning, my brother. Hey, how you doing, beautiful? Hey, something, anything. Acknowledge the person.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Do you usually answer on the first ring, or do it have to be like 9 rings in before you pick up the phone?
If it's you, I answer the minute you call.
Oh, well then.
But you always call me on FaceTime audio.
Yeah, that's on accident. This new update has combobulated my functionality on how to even use my phone
that
anymore.
With an
man.
iPhone 6. Man, I ain't trying to talk about update. I can't hear.
Man,
I can't stand. Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, to everybody who calls Terry, please start acknowledging, checking on him, seeing how he's doing before you ask a question.
Come on, man. Hey, I'm talking about for the people. Even the Bible says, enter into his gates with praise and his courts with thanksgiving.
There you go.
You have to understand that who you approaching, show them the respect of saying, "Hey, good morning, how you doing?" Anything. You don't know what I'm going through.
Hey, now we're getting somewhere, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta say good morning. You gotta say good morning to Terry.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, you don't know what I'm going through. You don't know what kind of mentality I have. You don't know who I've been dealing with. You don't know the kind of frame of mind I'm going through.
No, we know what you're dealing with because we're watching the same basketball team you're watching. So we understand, brother.
Hey,
we
man.
definitely understand.
Let me just take a sip on that one.
We feel the stress because watching that game last couple of days ago, I was a little stressed myself. So
it was a little low energy.
Oh my God!
All right, I'm your host,
called you again.
Terry Nelson, Corie Blount, Legends Unplugged. We got back there on the ones and twos. Chris, you got a microphone today, don't you?
I got a microphone today, brother.
Man, so we could throw it back and forth.
We can. Yes,
we're elevating here, man.
Elevating every day. We get better and better every day.
So you saw this game. You saw this Utah game.
Yep.
What was your initial thoughts? Because you're all in the chat thread. You had a lot to say.
I did, man. I'm thinking, we got a team that's coming in here that's lost four. They lost 4 straight. So I'm thinking, or 5 straight, I believe. 6 straight. So I'm thinking, with that type of team coming in, you're really feeling confident the way you've been playing, and you're going to show your home fans that we're going to show you guys why we are going to make a difference the rest of the season by bringing a certain level of effort, intensity, just ready to dominate, get this game over about time the 10-minute mark at halftime after that in the second half, and be able to show everybody that they need to be excited. And I'm sitting there was waiting for that moment, and I'm waiting for that moment.
Especially after
and then they went up 5.
Yeah.
And then my heart dropped.
And then you, like every other fan, start panicking.
I panicked. It made me. This is what it made me do. I thought about halftime.
Yeah.
And I said, I just flashed back to hugs at halftime. Mm-hmm. And it made me think of the Miami.
You had to grab the towel,
put
it around you,
knew that
cover
was
your
part
mouth.
of it. But it made me think of the Miami of Ohio halftime speech that Hugs gave us. And we were expected. He had told us all week, if you don't come to play, you're gonna find out how good this team is. And we took it for granted. Miami of Ohio. We only knew Miami University. So when they said Miami of Ohio, we thinking it's a junior college or something. So I'm thinking, okay, we should blow this team out. Well, they were up at halftime, and I just remember Hugs came in and he went on one of his famous rants. But he had a quote that always stuck with me.
Which quote was this?
He said, I hope you guys are happy that you're getting your ass kicked by a bunch of white guys with circle driveways.
2.5 kids.
And at the time, I didn't know what a circle driveway was, so I didn't really get it. Even though I'm like, what does that mean? Okay, whatever. But then we came out and played hard and won the game. But then when I got drafted, you know what I mean? I started looking at houses and stuff. And I saw a circle driveway. And I remember I called Hugs. I'm like, man, I really understand what you meant back then when you said that, because I didn't get it at first. Big, beautiful houses,
Comfortable.
Man, comfortable. They were comfortable. They came out and played hard. So that's kind of my mindset. What did Wes, I would love to know what was his halftime spiel to those guys. Because I'm sure he knew that this was a must-win game.
Yeah.
Had to be. So when you were sitting there watching it, what you think? What could he have said to those guys to kind of get them to see what kind of situation this would be if they were to lose this game?
Knowing the mind of Wes, he wasn't talking about losing. Knowing the mind of Wes was talking about, we're doing good stuff at times. Mm-hmm. We've got to do better. We got to do it for longer, extended periods of time, and we got to fight through screens. We got to he's always talking about game plan,
right?
And he's trying to get them guys to lock in, share the ball, don't take tough shots, find the open guy, use your ability to penetrate into the lane and create matchups. If you see one-on-one on the post, throw it down low, because there's more emphasis on getting the ball down low now. So you can tell he's in the locker room. He's trying to make adjustments. The problem is Utah didn't have a great record. They were at the time tied with Cincinnati for last in the conference, but they don't get blown out. Their worst loss this year, as far as record point-wise, they lost to Eastern Washington, I believe, 101-77. We played them a couple years ago. This is a pretty good team. They won their conference several years. They're a good three-point shooting team. They lost to them by 23. In the Big 12, they've lost to Houston, I think, by 14. They lost to Arizona by like 14 or 16. They got talent. They don't get blown out. They play well enough to stick around and make every game feel like, man, we should have beat them by 40 based on their record. We should have beat them by 30. Based on the record, you always look at the opponent and be like, look, we just beat Kansas State at Kansas State by 29.
Man.
Scored 91 points.
Yep.
And we come back and
come home.
And they're at a 2-hour disadvantage because it's 10 o'clock in Utah. So they got to adjust their bodies. They got to get up. Our guys come out there, and the whole building was flat.
Yeah.
The whole atmosphere. It's not just the Bearcats. The atmosphere was flat. Normally, the atmosphere is what gives you the boost to give you the energy to go out and play those morning games. I remember we played Memphis at noon. This was the year that – it was a 93 year. Mm-hmm. We were number 4 in the nation. We go into Memphis, and we lose that game. Spike Lee was trying to sign, I think, you and Penny and Nick, as he had a agency.
Yeah.
And Spike Lee comes into the locker room after the game, and we're getting dressed, and Nick said, I bet they're over there just laughing and having a good time, huh? He goes, no, they sitting down, they exhausted. He said they couldn't believe they beat the game.
Yeah, they won that game. But they competed at a high level, too.
Yes.
And what, we lose by 2 or 3?
Yes.
Yeah, so.
But the point is, we were number 4 in the country going into that place, ready to stomp them and beat them, and they had the game plan ready, and that was one of the only games that they beat us. The only game they beat us in the 7 tries that we played them.
So you're saying that in reference to Utah?
I'm saying that Utah has players, and Utah has they run good stuff. They just don't get beat up. When you see a bad team, or you see a bad record-wise team, you start doing stuff that you normally wouldn't do against Arizona, a BYU, a Houston. You start doing stuff. You start taking shots you're not supposed to take. You start acting the way you shake. If you're not a shooter, guys are taking threes, going to the legs, shooting mid-range follow-aways and fadeaways. It's like, come on, man. What are we doing? And coach is looking down at the bench, and there's not too many people he can put in because a lot of them are hurt. And the guys he wants to put in for the person he's replacing, that person in that particular position may be injured.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the game, it felt like everybody played. Yeah. That rotation was like an elevator door. It looked like it. So I thought he played everybody the first half. I'm sitting there like, rotation? Okay, right. This guy, he's coming out. Okay, who's coming in? It was just a constant flow of players going in and out. So I'm thinking he was doing that to preserve them for the second. You don't want to wear guys out because I see that's the thing now. Everybody seem like they can't play a full 40, 38 minutes or whatever, so you want to kind of save some guys. So the rotation was heavy. But then towards the end of the game, he stayed with a solid group of guys to carry that thing home.
Yes. But to me, that's growth. Because, you know what, I thought I was going to bring, this was going to be another episode of Wes Killer. I have my glasses. I'm not prepared. I didn't prepare my dialogue, so I'll leave Wes Killer for next week. But Wes Miller has slayed 2 of his beasts, his demons in the last week. Think about this. They were 0-9 on the road and non-conference neutral site games. 0-9.
Yeah.
He goes on the road and beats Kansas State by 29. And it was so bad, coach got fired. He had words to say, not because of Wes Miller, not because of UC, but in a way, he was upset.
Whooping had something to do with it.
He was upset with his team's effort. He kept calling timeout. And if you would have saw him storm across the court during some of those timeouts at his players, where they would score or miss a layup, and within 1 or 2 passes, UC was down there dunking and shooting layups.
Yeah.
And he was mad at their effort not getting back, like they didn't care.
Yeah.
And for a coach, deeply religious man, and he knows, he says, look, he said once in a quote, if I get fired, they're going to have to still pay me, and me and my wife, we're going to travel around the world and build orphanages and homes for, he had this great humanitarian thing. He says, look, I'm going to give my money away to the people. He was prophesying his own downfall. This was 2 years ago. He said it in a speech. Now he's doing the exact same thing.
Right.
He's so frustrated, he calls timeout and instantly goes towards players and starts ripping them. Now, what I told Wes, and Wes has done since then, I said, look, man, when you are that heated, take a moment. Don't come to the microphone. Don't come over. No. we walked out. We were playing Clemson, and Clemson had us by 27. We got it all the way down to 1. Could have won the game, didn't win the game. And Roy Williams was there waiting for him in the hallway, and he comes out and he's ready. And I said, Coach, just take a minute. Just take a minute. He goes in the back, calms himself down, and then comes back out and says, I'm ready. I wish somebody would have did that with Tang.
Really?
Yeah, I wish somebody would have said, Coach, before you get to the microphone, think about what you're gonna say. Just relax, because you can guy steaming. He's walking. He ain't looking at nobody. He's part of what Dan and I do in the post game. Our interview before he gets to the major media is take some of the steam off. And when a coach is pissed off to the highest of pistivity,
Yeah, he was frustrated, man.
frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you got to get it out.
You got it. Yeah, but there's a way to get it out. I mean, if the pot's boiling, you can simmer it. You can turn the heat down a little bit.
Man, pour that hot water on them, man. Scold them dudes, man. They need to feel your pain.
Yeah, they felt it all right.
Yeah, we felt pain when we didn't do what we were supposed to do. At least
Correct.
I did.
Correct. Now, times are different.
Different era. Yeah, I get
Times
it.
are
Different era. Different era.
And we had 3-hour practices. Sometimes you didn't even have to punish us extra. He didn't even have to make us do extra running. Sometimes just knowing that the 3-hour practice, you had to be at your optimum level of attention, because any one thing that you did wrong, he's going to punish you for it. Make you do it again. Put more time on the clock. Down and back, or do a 22, and then you're going to hear for the next 3 minutes combination of curse words you didn't even know existed.
Man.
You can't do that nowadays.
No, not at all. Not at
So
all.
you have to find a way to reach today's athlete, because today's athletes are professionals. You mentioned this.
Yep.
They make money. They ain't got to listen to it because they have a free get out of jail.
Well, they
free
got to
pass.
listen to it, but they got to be held for a higher standard and accountability now, because they are getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, you should want to. It's like any of us. If we're working for somebody, you want to do your best. You want to earn your pay. So these kids should feel the importance of them having to earn their pay, and that's based on their performance. And I'm not one of them guys that just focus on scoring, man.
Right.
I'm looking for effort and energy.
That's correct.
You know what I mean? That ball's gonna go in some nights, and it's not gonna go in. But your effort, your energy, your enthusiasm, that's what I'm looking for. And then everything else will be secondary. If you're not getting that out of the players, then that's to me where the issue should be brought up. And I thought the coach from Kansas State felt that he didn't have those 3 components, and that's why he was frustrated.
Yeah, they had a high NIL dollar amount they were paying these guys.
Right.
It was in the teens.
Right.
And so coaches feel like, look, we're paying you to do your job, and you're not doing your job.
Right.
And it's frustrating. In an 82-game season in the NBA, you can sit a guy, you can make him go down to the G League, you can do it. I think wish we had a G League for college. If a guy ain't doing right, make him go down there to the rec and play basketball with make him go somewhere.
That or a trading deadline.
Yeah, we need a, you know what? It's coming, Corie. It's coming. I'm glad you said it.
They're going to have a trading deadline
You should
pretty
be able
soon.
to make trades. Not in conference, though. You should be
Well,
able to
before
make trades.
conference, yeah.
I'm just saying, you can't trade in the Big 12.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Before conference started, if you seeing the player ain't bringing what you need, okay, we need to move him. Let's see if we can get something for this player right here.
You come to practice right now to get your papers. Yeah, man.
Hey, coach want to see you. Uh-oh. I've been
you
part
ever
of
had
that.
one of those?
Yeah, I've been a part of that. Go into practice and hey, they want to talk to you real quick. Like,
Was that Phil?
No, it wasn't. Well, Phil, I didn't really have that with Chicago, but Phoenix I did with Scott Skiles riding.
What did he say?
Man, I don't even want to. It was something that I wasn't happy about. I put it like that, and the way they handled that, I was pretty pissed. But it was, hey, they want to see you upstairs.
Oh boy!
And I'm like, all right,
bring your playbook.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have playbooks
Yeah,
back then.
that's in NFL.
Yeah. But it was just like, man, we're going to make some moves, and we're thinking about making some changes, and you're included in it, and we'll get back to you this evening.
Oh, well, at least he was straightforward. Like, look, man, we're trying to get better. There's more opportunity for you in this place we're going to send you.
Nah, it didn't have nothing to do with them getting better. Because I was playing well. It was just me and his friction. That's what it was, a personal thing.
I know Nick said the same thing.
Yeah, it was
Most
a
people
personal
Yeah,
thing.
they didn't like his style.
Yeah.
But
So I'm bringing that to college
Yes.
now.
I think there needs to be a trade deadline. I think you need to be able to, if you're going to give people money and you're locking them into that year, I think there's a possibility that in the future you could probably say, look, I want to trade. I want to trade this guy for San Francisco's, 6'7" center. Because there's some guy that was under-recruited. He went to a lower-level school, and he is balling out. And now the Big 12 school is hoping to tuck that person away and hide him. And their representatives are calling the Cincinnati's GMs and other GMs and saying, hey, our guy is very interested in your school. If you guys make an offer, you can have him. And so you got GMs and different people that have commitments from players.
Yep.
And the season's not over.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. It's so much behind the back dirty stuff going on in college sports right now is that if a guy doesn't like, or gal doesn't like their playing situation, don't like the coach, don't like the minutes, don't like the offense, don't like how it makes them look, how it makes them feel, anything, they're ready to check out.
Yep.
And when they're ready to check out, it's bad for the university. It's bad for the student. It's bad for the family because now you start saying, okay, what's your morals? What were you raised on? You keep talking about how much you love your parents and love your mom and they taught you all this stuff, but yet you're ready to run. The minute that the Jack B. Nimble experience hit, that fire hit your ass, you're ready to run.
Yeah, the adversity is going to bring that out of a lot of weak people.
Yes, but that's not the problem. The problem is when it brings it out, what do you do with it when it's exposed?
That's where the coaching come in at, right?
Yeah, not just head coach. That's what you have assistants and staff and all
Definitely.
that.
Definitely. It's a team thing at that point.
Yeah, well, you have to have somebody on the staff that you communicate with that understands you. That's your partner.
Right.
The guy that recruited you.
Yeah.
That knows your sisters, knows your brother, knows your aunt, knows where you've been, knows your coach. And they can just sit you down and just keep it real with you. Well, Corie, your ass lazy. I mean, Harrison was that. Chuck Mason.
Man,
like,
definitely.
have you come in early?
Yep.
Have you stayed late?
Yep.
And you expect him to put you in? That's not how we roll here.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be real with you, and you got to be able to take tough coaching. But if you won't come and have that conversation with that coach, if you just want to tell your partner, your handler, your AAU coach, whatever, somebody who's not in the building with you, and you go and tell them, now you're bringing back friction. The coach has got to manage that while he's trying to keep everything together. Man, I tell you right now, Wes Miller, I give him hats off to Wes Miller because he has heard it all. He's been fired 12 times this year and came back.
Right.
He's been fired. He has had letdowns. When I say he slayed the dragon, he slayed some of his demons. The 29-point victory on the road was the first one. They were 0-11 this year with 2 minutes or less, and they're losing. They were 3-59 in his career going into the 5-minute mark when they are down by 5. When they're down going into the 5-minute mark.
Right.
They were down with 90 seconds to go, like by 4 or 5, and they came back with. And Wes Miller was excited. He was upset with how they played as a totality. He wasn't pleased with that, but he was ultra pleased at how they figured it out.
Right.
Because he says we needed to do this. We needed to figure it out. And I believe it's not just saying we as in the players. He was saying we as in the
unit,
coach.
Yeah, the whole staff and everybody.
Because we did something as a staff, as a team. We made the right adjustments. We stuck with the guys that we wanted to play during that situation. Guys made plays and make us and everybody else look better because you can call the same stuff and it don't work. And everybody's getting on Wes because everything rises and falls on leadership.
No doubt.
But the minute he comes out and says, you know what? I was proud of our guys. You know, how we turned it around, how we found a way to win. And that takes guts. It takes execution. It takes locking in and focus. To have a team that's got a top 10 defense in college basketball, their defense is elite. How they, you look at Keyshawn Tillery when he comes in the game, how he digs in the post, and Day and all those guys flying at three-point shooters, and Baba Miller just being a Swiss Army knife, doing just about everything, all the stuff that they're doing, and you find out how they come out with energy. Their defense is, they didn't have the energy in the Utah game to start, but their defense has been elite. How they set the tone defensively. They may have made shots. They went into Houston and controlled tempo for the first 10 minutes or so of the game with their defense. They just didn't make any shots. So my thing is, if you got Wes Miller being fired 12 times this year for not finishing, then where's the same love when he is, you went from the hate. Where's the love now that he has figured out how to beat a sloppy game?
Well, as a fan, am I obligated to have that type of feeling if I just want to focus on my team being the best they can be and winning as many games as I want them to win? It's a personal thing because I'm a fan. I'm not really concerned about your feelings because you're getting paid to lead my team to victory. Yeah. So that's all I want to really be concerned about is how are we winning.
Yeah, you sound like a Dallas Cowboy fan now.
No, I'm sounding like a University of Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Bearcat
Dallas Cowboy
fan.
and UC Bearcat fans are both delusional.
No, we're not delusional.
You're very delusional.
Man, we got talent.
Name some team that's got an NIL budget that don't have talent. This is college basketball. Everybody who got money has talent. Getting that talent to compete and mesh.
Correct.
Without
I agree with
injury. Because there's injury involved.
Right.
Now, that has nothing to do with the fact that Cincinnati was up in a lot of those games that they lost. And they had leads or a chance to win the game in the last 3-4 minutes or whatever it is.
Right.
They have played well enough to be in those games. They didn't figure it out. But now you're saying, okay, they figured it out. Fans are not necessarily showing the love. They'd be like, well, who was it against, though? It was against Utah. It was against Kansas State. It was against the two worst teams. What about Central Florida? Oh, it was against what about? And then you start naming all the teams they won against. Iowa State. They'd be like, oh, what about Arizona? What about Arizona State? What does y'all do? Y'all wet the bed. Y'all, no, you cannot please everybody.
No question.
So the whole thing is when I see Wes Miller keeping everything in house and not wanting to say too much, he doesn't give us much in the interviews in post game. You know, I ask him a question and he'll instantly shut it down and be like, I don't know about that, Terry. I just think that he'll shut down what I'm trying to bring something out of him so he can open up to the fans. He'll shut it down because he doesn't want anybody in the building that doesn't believe.
Well, see, that's why I like the fact that we get your perspective on it because you're engaged with the program and you're able to give us this type of information because we're looking like, okay, when is he going to say something or when is he going to bring that to our attention of how he feels about it? But based on what you're saying, he likes to just kind of keep it low key and make sure he's staying positive.
Yeah, he's trying to protect the players because the players won't protect themselves. Wes Miller got off social media, and these players, we've had players in the past that would lose a game, get on social media and post a picture of themselves in the car, unbothered, you know, showing off their jewelry, showing off the new backpack that they bought that's $300 Louis bag, or they're flashing their money. And saying y'all can hate all y'all want, but y'all ain't driving this, y'all ain't doing this.
Oh, well, yeah.
And it's turning the fans off.
Yeah.
And so Wes Miller was like, no, I'll take the heat for you guys. And matter of fact, we're going to keep everything in-house. We're going to try to keep everything as close to the vest as possible because if you let them in, if you give them the ability to comment on you when you're doing great, you also give them the license to tear you down when you're not doing well. Mm-hmm. So what he does, he's like, you know what? I'll give you guys just enough to print some stuff. And I'll tell you something about this guy. You guys are killing this guy, but you don't know that this guy, he had the flu. Yeah. This guy dealing with knee issues. This guy hasn't slept in 2 days because something's going on back home. Like he'll give you a little peep into why the guys aren't, the team hasn't performed the way. He says it's not an excuse, but, and he gives you the excuse.
Yeah.
What he's not trying to cover up the dirt and push it under the rug. He's trying to say, look, guys, there's so much more behind this that you guys just don't know. You guys just see performance on the court. There's stuff that leads to performance that we're dealing with on a daily basis, and we're trying to keep everything in-house and keep the team together because I love this team. I love the roster. I love the fact that they gave us an NIL budget to go out and get this team. I love these guys. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that, you know, we can do certain things in closing situations. The fact that he has 3 guards that he loves and trusts. One's a pure point guard and Keyshawn Tillery off the bench. But then you got Jizzle and Day-Day who are just 2 attack dogs. Man, they are – when they go with their mid-range, when Jizzle and Day-Day are attacking, when they're picking up full court. Now Day-Day's starting to get some crazy fouls. He'll be like, bro, what are you doing? You know, because he don't like to be pushed and all that, you know. He don't like to be manhandled because it's some dirty play sometimes in basketball, especially when you're dealing with your guard. You got to deal with those illegal screens, the knee chucks, the hip bounces when you're coming off these screens. Guards, when they're going to the hole, they're trying to wipe your arm off and they slap you in the face. He's been hit 2 or 3 times, being slapped in the face as the guard trying to wipe his arm off. It's a lot of stuff. So you get chippy.
Yeah.
And I love chippy guards. What do you think If you had 2 or 3 things that makes a good big man, what do you think a good big man would? What creates a good big man?
Someone who knows their role, definitely understands where they fit in the offense and the defensive scheme, and then just knowing how to be efficient. You know, being a big, to me, you have the ability to at least shoot a high percentage.
Yeah.
There's no reason why any big should be shooting 30 and 20% from the field if you're utilizing your strengths the right way.
What if your strength is to face the basket shooter?
Man, then you face the basket and shoot, or you drive. But you got to at least include some contact in there too,
right?
So you can get to the foul line occasionally by being aggressive.
Correct.
Just a face-up jump shot is fine if you have that in your package, but attack sometime. Don't give the defensive guy all the credit and thinking they're great defensive guys. That's one thing.
Yeah.
See if they can really play defense by bringing it to them.
Yeah.
So bigs to me should be able to work on that and understand that as their role in an offense or a defense scheme. I like our bigs. I've liked our bigs for the last 3 or 4 years, to be honest. We just haven't had that. We haven't had that one to be able to say, that's Gary Clark right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just dominated and really just was the face of the program. So until we get that, we have to be it has to be held accountable for we're looking at a whole team to be that Gary Clark. And I think that's what we have that when you look at the whole team, but they haven't been able to do it on a consistent level. It's a fine line between winning and losing, man.
Yeah.
We've been in games, so you can't say the talent isn't there or the skill set. It's just those small things and timing that we haven't been able to kind of execute to finalize to end on a win that we've been get exploited on. And I think we just got to continue to try to see how this thing is going to evolve, because it's been interesting. It's been very interesting from my point of view, because I look at the game. I think I look at the game different than anybody else. I don't really just focus on who's shooting shots and scoring the ball. I'm looking for who's setting screen, who's cutting back door, who's trying to force somebody out off their lane. You know, the little things that kind of impact winning. And I haven't seen that on a consistent level in times of critical times when they need to be doing that, and it's been getting exploited a little bit.
Well, you're 100% correct. And Wes Miller shares the same sentiment with you.
Right.
And he knows this. And when you talk about, you want to be able to see if the defense is true, that's why I love when Mustafa Cham catches the ball and faces. Because when he faces, he gives you a little dream shake and see if the defense starts shuffling their feet. They shuffle their feet. He's got them.
Yeah.
He knows he's got them, because all big men can guard you with a forearm in your back. But the minute you face them, now they got to get in the stance. They don't know how to slide their feet. If you give them a little jab step, pump fake, if you see them move a little bit, you know you got them. And he just catches it. He looks at you, and he'll raise up and shoot, which I love. Same time, I would like him to be a little bit more intentional with his footwork. One thing about when Kenyon Martin was going to the USA games, I think it was the World Games, they were playing with Brendan Haywood and all those guys, the Olympic team, junior Olympic team. I can't get the right name for it. But that summer, he worked with Chuck Mayshop, and Chuck Mayshop worked on backouts.
And backouts, face-ups, turnaround jump shots, showing goals.
Yeah.
I had that same workout with Chuck, so I definitely know where you're going
Hop
with
steps
that.
to the middle.
Yeah, and powering up and pump faking and getting guys off the ground. All that was things that we worked on kind of daily.
That's right.
When we did individuals. So are those guys getting that type of experience now?
They're starting to.
Okay.
So what they've done is they've been doing all year long. There's just no more emphasis now on it.
Yeah.
Because you're starting to see those holes start to show up in the defense. Those holes start to show up in the offense.
Right.
Whereas, Wes Miller early on was really trying to get Mustafa on the block, backing in, trying to find stuff. And he said that's not his game. And he realized halfway through the season it's not his game. So we want to get him to face the basket and be comfortable playing the way that he plays.
Yeah.
And when you start doing that, the scoring start going up.
Yeah. And you just feeling good about yourself, because when I'm putting myself in the equation. When I first got here, I hated pump faking.
Yeah.
Because in junior college.
Show the ball.
Yeah. Show it, pump it. And I'm like, man, in junior college, I just guarded and turned around and face or shot my jump hook.
Yeah.
But when you get to another level, you notice that those skill sets are going to be needed, because you're going to be playing against guys your size, like built likewise, so you're going to have to be able to have counter moves and different things to be able to get your game off in a tight knit quarter. You know, on that block you don't have a lot of space, and it's and the way you look at it now, it's kind of crowded down there, so you got to go quick. I just think
powerful, or else you get the ball stripped from you.
Right, but a lot of times they face up, and it's like when they do face up, the rest of the team is taking pictures.
Yeah.
Like cut, dive, go screen away. And those are the things that I look for, like, because if you move it, it makes it much harder for the defense to guard you. When you just pass it and then everybody just looking, you get a stagnant offense, and I think that's what we've been getting.
One of the best things you can do when you got a ball in the post is to fill and replace. Weak side wing cuts to the basket, or the top guy cuts to the basket, the weak side wing fills to the top, fills that open void, because a strong cutter is going to take the guy who's watching the ball. He's late.
Right.
He's going to take you, try to guard you, and the other guy's going to try to help until you get there in position. And when he helps, the opposite guard, the opposite wing should fill that void, and you kick it to him for shots. They run that in part of the offense. They have that fill and replace. But the best cutters always create action. They get the ball. If you don't get it, you fill out, you go to the opposite side, and you get ready to shoot the basketball. But what I do see is you see more cutting. When I watch Wes Miller's offense, when I watch other teams' offense, Wes Miller's offense is a lot of movement. And sometimes you wonder, you be like,
it's a lot of movement at the front court.
Yes.
Dribble handoffs and things like that, but nothing going towards the basket.
Correct.
Right.
So there is movement.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is he's trying to pull those bigs up. So the bigs are setting screens. A lot of guards doing figure eights. They're doing dribble handoffs. They're doing high screen and rolls, screen and fades. They're doing all these things. And when you can find the opposite side action doing something, that's when the offense works, because everybody's watching the on-the-ball screen. They're expecting the roll, but it's the opposite guy. As the opposite post guy setting the flare screen for the guy in the corner. Is he doing something to keep the action going? You said you watch all the little stuff. It's exactly what I watch. As post players, you watch the guy that's setting the good screen, the right angle. You watch the guy who's actually telling the guard, get over here, come on. He's using verbal eye contact. He's looking at him. How many times did Nicky throw you the ball just by looking at him? If the defender's guarding you and his head was turned, that pass was coming right over his head.
Yeah.
Because there's a communication on the floor that you can't get. There's a chemistry.
Yeah.
You cannot get from anything else other than being on the floor together.
Yep.
And when you're in practice together and you're looking at each other, and he come over to you and say, hey, man, if this got his head turned, this coming, so be ready to catch it. Yeah. And sometimes you just sort of give him a look, and you don't want to make it too obvious, and the ball comes, you don't show your hands like a receiver until that ball comes there, and you catch it and you put it up, and the guys are looking. You got a foul on that guy, and now the coach is upset because he's not paying attention. Had nothing to do with that guy. It was the communication and the chemistry that you have from the other guy.
Well, that's the other thing about it. You really don't get enough time with these guys to develop chemistry, because a lot of these guys are here for 1 year and gone. Yeah. So to build that kind of chemistry, it takes time, and unfortunately, you don't really get that no more. Unless you have high-level, talented players, the McDonald, guys with a high level of ability to score, or high ability to just know how their game works within themselves. So you got to develop these guys, and a lot of time you don't get that kind of time.
Who's the teammate that pushed you the most
here in Cincinnati?
In Cincinnati.
Probably Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then going against Jeff and Rock every day, I was 130, 234.
Why did they push you? In what way?
Physicality. I wasn't used to playing against bigs every day like that in junior college.
Yeah.
So now I'm going against Rock and Jeff, and they beating the crap out of me every day. And I'm getting frustrated and wanting to fight.
Yes, sir, yeah.
But it helped me develop, okay, if you're going to do that, I'm going to do this. One thing I know I can do is outrun your big slow butt. So I'll see you down the court. You know what I mean? Those were the things the advantage that I was able to catch on early on, and was able to help me kind of cope with the physicality.
Yeah. Eric was the same. Eric would, you be playing against him, he'd be like, Bono, what you gonna do? You ain't doing that. No, you're gonna drop step. You're gonna do this. Like, he's calling out all your coverages. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Terrence Gibson, T-Rap would come over there, but listen, player. If he does this, you got to go over here.
Yeah.
Terrence was one of the coaches on the floor. We had a bunch of guys that communicated and talked.
On both teams.
Yeah, but we had coaches on the floor that Hugs would break the offense, break the huddle from the timeout early and let us communicate. And once we got in the huddle, you got 5 sets of hands pointing and saying, if we get switched, if they do this, like we would come up with our own counters. And Hugs trusted us because we were a bunch of high IQ players that we had great coaches coming up.
I would give the credit to the high IQ, but do you know how much we played with each other?
Yeah, sometimes.
Careful about how I say that.
Pause.
Yeah. But, man, we was every day, Lawrence Gym.
Yeah.
Going to Woodward, just our whole team.
Field house.
Yeah, so we got to build a chemistry and understood our strengths and weaknesses. So every now and then when Nick would drop a dime and you don't get it, you don't catch it, and he run down the court and say, that's your last one.
That's your last one.
You like, what you mean? I got to get the rebound. That's your last one.
Yeah.
I ain't going to kick it to you. We better work this out now.
Right,
you know what I mean? But that's what it took for us to kind of build that camaraderie. And I don't know if these guys or these kids get that now. How often do they get the chance to be in the gym with each other early on before the season starts?
Yeah, it's a lot.
That benefited us.
Yeah, the majority of stuff in today's game, you have to do a lot of team building. Guys are going bowling. Guys are going miniature golfing. They're going, top golf.
They all got their guy, their individual trainer. See, we didn't have. Who wanted to individually train us at that time? So we took that upon ourselves. But that's just the dynamic of how it is now. So that does make it tough when you're trying to build chemistry, I think.
Yeah. What do you think about trash talking on the court?
I love it. It brings something out of me.
What's the most disrespectful thing somebody said to you on either level?
Let me think. I don't really remember well, I know one. Charles Barkley kind of said something crazy to me. He was killed in Eldon Campbell, rest in peace. And Dad was like, you got to go in there and get him, Corie. And I'm like, all right. So I go in there, as soon as I check in, he was like, damn, Blount, I was going to make him MVP of our team. Like, what you mean? Oh, I was going to kill him today. And I done brought your ass in here. So that, and then I remember Karl Malone, we were chucking elbows and going at it, and they called a tech on me. And when I was walking off, I just remember Carl was like, hey, Blount, you ain't got to like me, but you're going to respect me after I give you this 30-piece tonight. I mean, what can I say?
Did he give you 30?
Nah, he probably gave about 20-something because I wasn't in there that
30,
long.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't get all 30. I only got about 12 of them things. But, that was the thing. So that kind of talking we love to do. I remember I can't remember who we were playing, but Eric was at the free throw line because he had tried to dunk on somebody and got fouled. And I was like, hey, man, you got to be careful, man. These scrubs will hurt you. And the other dude was like, hey, man, I ain't no damn scrub. He got offended too. And I'm like, man, I wasn't talking to you. I'm talking to my teammate. He's like, I don't give a damn. You called me a scrub. So that's we used to talk.
California thing.
Yeah, man, we used to talk across the lane like, Blount, you got him right to you. I got him.
Yeah, he can't score.
Yeah.
You do it on purpose, trying to get under the skin.
Right.
I got him because he can't score. So he gonna drop step every time. If he goes left, make sure. And you would tell him, you would tell him the move they was gonna do because you wanted them to see if they can do the other thing, which they didn't practice, and it makes them almost like a turnover because they shooting shots that they're not comfortable shooting.
And I'm not talking like we won every game.
No.
You know what I mean? But it's still an effort and an energy and a chemistry thing that we had where we won a lot of games. And that's what I think that separated us from a lot of these teams. Because there's no way in the world you can convince me that after we left this program that UC wouldn't be back in the Final Four by now.
Correct. With all the talent.
Come on, man.
All the teams.
Yeah. No question I thought that would ever happen.
But good team. The 96 team, I thought, was with Ruben Patterson, Danny Fortson, Bobby Brennan. They even had Terrence Davis in there, Darnell Burton, Damon Flint. That team was loaded. Yeah. Like I thought this was. They went to the Final 8.
Yeah, we've had great teams. Yeah, but it just, to me, it goes to show you how special we were. But I think it was the chemistry, man. I put it all
chemistry above all.
And the reason I say that is because we're still together today.
Right.
All of us. We're all on the feed. We're all talking to each other. I don't know if every other team has that. So that just shows you how special. How do you build that type of special chemistry or bond when you only got guys rotating in and out a year or two?
Yeah.
So it's just a different time. And then you got a young coach and a young team. And I think the expectations as a fan, like myself, I want to win. So it's hard for me to kind of feel sorry for anybody that's not doing that because my expectations, I want to be able to brag about my program. I want to be able to talk about, how well we're doing, and then we're not. The frustration sinks in.
Yeah, it is frustrating. And Wes Miller's trying to build a culture that he wasn't a part of. He grew up watching us.
Yeah.
And he loves Cincinnati basketball. And so when he's trying to recreate Cincinnati basketball, it's year 5, and you've seen glimpses of, man, this could be really, really good.
Right.
I mean, think about this. It was year 5 that Mick Cronin actually took the team to the tournament.
Yeah.
He had to build up just like from scratch. He built up. His first guy was Ronald Allen, and he had Cedric McGowan and Deontay Vaughn. He had all these guys that if they were on different teams, Deontay Vaughn would have been an all-time scorer at University of Cincinnati if he was playing with us.
Yeah.
If he was playing with a team that just said, just shoot.
Yeah.
He was in the Big East. He was Mick was trying to build a tournament in a team in the best conference in America at the time, the Big East. And Wes Miller is trying to build a roster and build a team in the best conference in America in the Big 12.
Yeah.
It takes time. 5 years is a long time, especially when you're shuffling out every year. But at the same time, you're not just trying to get the best rosters together. You're trying to figure out your style. You're trying to figure out how you're going to close games. You're trying to figure out with the team that you have going against a team that has already been together for a while and a coach who's a Hall of Famer, how do I get an edge up? How do I find something that gives me the edge? How do I get my team to accept the physicality that this team's going to dish out our physicality, but still execute down the stretch?
Yeah, you just made me think of something, because that's the focus on it's all about wins and losses. But you know what I've noticed? We haven't heard anybody in the last 5 years on our program has been academically ineligible.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that right there is a high standard and a praise that should be acknowledged for the job he's doing. But unfortunately, we're talking about wins and losses. But when you look at the overall kind of projection of the program, we've been solid on that point.
Well, Dr. Lucky and the student athletic support staff took that power away from all coaches.
Okay.
The coaches can't take credit for that anymore.
Okay.
They can't say that, our team, my team has a 3.2 GPA. They were like, no, you get no credit for that. That's Dr. Lucky and his staff.
Yeah.
Dr. Lucky and his staff, when they have somebody travel with the guys on road trips, most of the guys take online classes and they get their coursework done. They have to check in. They're in the, we're eating team meals, and there's a bunch of, if you can picture this big old ballroom, there's tables all over, people are eating. Some of those tables, the people have already eaten and went back to their rooms. Some are laying over in a little mobile triage, getting their legs worked on, and ice baths and all this other stuff. And then some are sitting with a tutor and the support staff going over papers, going over homework, making sure they get stuff done, having to check in. People coming with their laptops on the road, sitting down and talking about this thing and this test I got to take. They're getting stuff done. Wes Miller is a beneficiary. If Bob Huggins had this when he was a coach, he wouldn't have had the stigma that he had. He was chasing us down, making us go to class. Making sure we went to class.
Yeah, you know me, man. If I'm getting $500,000 a year, there's no way I'm gonna be academically ineligible neither.
Correct. You using some of that?
So there's no excuse for that.
What's unsaid don't need to be spoken. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, but no, that's I serve on the athletic advisory council, man. I get to see the wonderful job that our program is doing as far as academics.
Yes.
And we are performing very good in the Big 12 in the conference. We're ranked high among the best, and I think that's something that's not really being promoted right now in the way it should because of the situation we're doing with the wins and losses.
You and I give high praise to Dr. Lucky because
the
we
whole
know
staff.
His whole staff.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's the whole Maxwell quote: everything rises and falls on leadership. But for him to come and done what he's done over the last 10 years and putting our academic to where we're at the top of every conference we go to, our athletic department is at the top academically where we go to.
Yeah.
Our guys in every sport, it used to just be golf, golf,
tennis.
Yeah, tennis, maybe some women's basketball.
Yeah.
And, all across the board. I remember when I was at Cal State Fullerton, and we used to have to run this street called Bass and Cherry. It was uphill 2 miles. You had to come back down. We hated it. Mm-hmm. So we had just finished running, and George McCorn was our coach. And His daughter was married to Pooh Richardson, UCLA point guard.
Okay.
And so he came in there, and this lady walks in. President, I didn't even know who she was. Black lady, kind of Creole, curly hair. She walks in, and she goes, "What the hell is this?" And shoves a newspaper in his chest. George McCorn, he goes, "What are you talking about?" And it was all the graduation rates from every sport on the page.
Yeah.
It had like women's basketball, like 72%, golf, 100%, football, 32%. It was like basketball was like 18%. She said, "You have 6 seniors. You graduate 5 or you better find another job," in front of everybody.
Yeah.
He quit the same night. he quit the same night. And so, he knew.
That hit home.
Yeah, he knew that those guys, they weren't ready. They weren't going to graduate.
Yeah.
So the next day I called Donnie Daniels. I went to the coach who was recruiting me. He goes, "Okay, this is my plan for you." I said, "Coach, I'm transferring." He goes, "What? Get out of my office."
Right.
I walked out of the office. And then so Donnie Daniels was like, "Hey, man, if you're going to go somewhere, you need to go talk to my man over at L.A. Harbor, Ken Shields. So go over there and play for him." So I played a year and a half for him.
Right.
And then went back to Long Beach, and that's how I got here. But it was one of those things where academically, man, you can fall off pretty quickly if you don't have the right team. But if you got guys like you're making money, you're in the best – when I talk about University of Cincinnati, you're making money. You've got some of the best facilities in the country. You have a sports campus. Everything is close. So you have to be walking everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really need a car because your nightlife and everything is in walking distance. If you want to catch an Uber 5 minutes downtown, you can do that.
Yeah.
But everything is right there. We knocked down all our old buildings, and we have a different designer for every new building that comes up. That's why our campus, according to Forbes magazine, is one of the top 25 most beautiful in the country because everything is getting new. That's what UC stands for. Under construction. Not University of Cincinnati. Something's always getting rebuilt here.
Right.
So when you look at the money that they've raised, the $1 billion funds that they raised and they're continuing to raise, they are putting stuff into place. So when you're an athlete and you come here and you say, "I can't make it at Cincinnati,"
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what the hell? What you talking about? You can't make it at Cincinnati. They have everything for you.
Yeah.
If you have a hustler spirit, not only can you make it in Cincinnati, our network reaches beyond the states. We got people in China, India.
Yeah.
We got a great Indian program here. People from India come here and they take computer science and all the other stuff. We got Africa.
Yeah.
All the continents, we've got alumni all over the world. And all you have to do is tap into the alumni base and say, "Hey, I'm moving here. You got anybody there that I can meet?" And Jen Heisey will sit over there and get you connected with somebody, get you going. When you bounce from school to school, who do you tap into? What network? Who have you met? When you take somebody's money and you don't know who that person is, some of them like to let them know I donated the most money. But when you take somebody's money, there's an obligation for you to give your best, to come early, to stay late, to go to class, to if you're not in class, to do your assignments, to treat the people in the hallways with respect and dignity, because the money that you're getting, you're taking care of your mom.
Man.
You're taking care of if some of them have kids, you're taking care of your children. You're taking care of your sister. You bought somebody a car from your family that needed to get to work. You're doing all this stuff. They've taken care of you. And all they ask for you to do is be the best representation for Cincinnati that you can possibly be. Yep. Make your mama proud, make your daddy proud. And come here and put your family on a whole different trajectory. You might be the first one with a degree in your family. Mm-hmm. You and I were. We got degrees. And I want to make sure that my mom's proud. I want to make sure that when she sees me, that she smiles every time she hears my name.
Right.
When you are playing year to year and it's frustrating, and that year you had all this expectation and now you're losing, man.
Yeah, just listening to what you're saying, I think that's one thing we're going to focus on in Legends Unplugged. We're going to reconnect with former players, former alumni, and see how they're doing and get their perspective on how life is treating them. But I also would like to interview or have the opportunity to talk to the guys who have transferred to other schools and seen what value that they have had compared to what they were here, and see if they'd be willing to open up about that, because I think that'll just be a good conversation based on I was talking to a group of football players the other day, man, and I was just talking to them about you know, kind of on the chemistry thing. Like, you made a commitment to come to University of Cincinnati and you build a rapport with a group of guys, but then this guy is getting ready to leave to go chase the bag. You can't fault him for doing that, but I'm sure that has an effect on your relationship with the university, because that was somebody that you kind of depended on. So how do you balance that, or where's your loyalty now? You know what I mean? And that's the hardest part that I think we've getting ourselves into, that we're able to see the weakness in that aspect of it, because if you're not winning, you gotta blame it on something.
Right.
Right. And unfortunately, it's the fact that there's no these guys aren't able to build enough chemistry to be able to suffice the winning.
Does it take time to get chemistry?
And it depends. There's levels to it. Sometimes you might get lucky, you know, and get a group that buys in.
We did. You were lucky.
Yeah. And the good teams now, you might as well say they're lucky, because if they're winning now and then two guys leave, you know, I talk to Eric Martin all the time. They was in first place last year. He was coach of the year, and then 4 of his guys left.
Yeah.
Now you know where they at.
Yeah.
You know, so now he has to start all over. But that's just, you know, we talked about it, man. That's the coaching realm that he's in right now, and he's built for that. And I think every other coach in America has to be built for that right now.
All right, so culture is big. Chemistry is huge.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about that, and it takes, in order to build chemistry in a winning environment, the culture must be set. I mean, when you think about any science, one of the things I loved about, I didn't really like science growing up until we got to labs. Labs was fun because they give you this little petri dish, and they call it a culture. It's culture inside of it. Whatever you put in that dish, and you put the little shield on it, and over time, stuff starts growing in it.
Yeah.
And you can tell if it's a fungus, if it's whatever it is, based on the culture in that petri dish. And the same thing with sports. The university is the petri dish. The gym, the locker room, it is the petri dish. Any players that you put in there over time will reveal if it's the right culture or not.
Right.
Because when it starts losing, do guys start talking in the locker room like, man, you know, you should be playing more. I don't know why he tripping off you, you know. And if you ain't got guys real, be like, man, you come 5 minutes before practice. Why you getting mad at coach? Like, let's be real, dog. You ain't putting in the work.
Yeah.
Like, if I love you enough, I'll be like, bro, why are you getting mad and telling everybody our business when you ain't even putting in the work? You come out to practice, legs all ashy. You ain't got no sweat going. You late.
Remember, I had to go get you from California.
Damn right.
But you're right on point. Like,
but once I got in,
everybody support each other.
Yeah, but once like you came and got me because you said, "Look, no, you are the reason that I'm here."
Yeah, no question.
Me and Eric, but when you came and got me, I was like, "Man, that's my brother. I can't let him down." So practice means if practice at 3, I'm there at 2. I'm shooting. I'm working on post drills. I'm working on, and I never shot in the game hardly. But I wanted to make sure that if I got my 1 or 2 shots, I'm comfortable taking those 1 or 2 shots. And I'm only going to take them from places that I know.
Yeah.
Short corner, elbow to elbow. Those are my spots. And so, but I had to get there early to put the work in. And then a lot of times I was doing defensive slide drills, offensive rebound drills. I had the managers out there, and they had 2 blocking pads, one at the free throw line, one at the opposite block. And the guy would shoot the ball, and I would fend off the first one and bounce the other one under the basket and try to get the rebound to put it back up. Now, there was a rebounding rim on top of there, so you couldn't make the shot. So you had to keep going back and forth making it. Remember the 3-man weave on the glass?
Yeah.
Did y'all do that in the pros still?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to know that, position yourself to bound up on an offensive rebound, not just standing up and getting pushed under the basket. What about, I mean, some of the stuff that we did that made us a good, tough team, the bags, man, I tell you, bags are something else. When you get hit with enough bags, you get pissed off, especially when they're trying to make you mad, and you know they're trying to make you mad. I did that to Danny Fortune a couple of times. I hit him in the face. He hit me in that damn face again. I'm gonna whoop your Danny, I'm like, shut up. Bam. It's okay.
Yeah.
Hugs, if I knock him out, don't be saying nothing, you know, because I was a manager on the team. And I'm hitting him with the bag. And I'm like, Danny, he's got so much potential. And he's so angry all the time. He just had this inner rage from how he was raised that I knew I can bring it out of him by just irritating him. And he hated not being in a position where he was the best on the floor. He constantly talked about it. We went 3 trips down the floor. How come I ain't touched the ball, coach? Coach, give me the damn ball. He go to Michael Horton. You better give me the ball. If I don't touch the ball, I'm going to knock your ass out in the hallway.
So do you think that anybody on this current team is having that type of conversation?
No, but I'll tell you who should. Baba Miller. Baba Miller has so many gifts and tools, and he is one of the true leaders. He is so positive. He's got a lot of your positivity in him. When you see Baba, when Mustafa fouls, he's grabbing Mustafa, patting him on the back, like, no, it's okay. Get over here. Come on, get in the huddle. He's telling guys when they come out of the game, he's giving them 5. He's constantly giving positive affirmations to his teammate. When I see that, I see why they go hard. I see why they are unfazed and unbothered by when they lose, they come back out with the best effort the possible next game, because your leader, your best guy, is giving the best effort every game. And when guys start following that, Day and Jizzle, they're 2 dogs that are following that leadership. Guys come off the bench, if they don't have that same mentality, Wes sits them right back down, because you cannot mess up the chemistry that guys have displayed on the floor. When you're going to run, earlier on in this season, you're going to run, and he'd play guys just because he's got to play them, and the lead would evaporate, and he would, maybe take some guys out. Now he's not even putting those guys in.
Right. Just listening to you, it made me think about that game, because I didn't see much of Sincere Harris that game.
Right.
And I think he missed a couple shots or something.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it goes back, he's not that type of player that I'm going to kind of scrutinize him on his ability to make shots. I'm scrutinizing him if he's not giving us that dog effort that he has the ability to do unconsciously. I need you to be that.
Yeah.
So missing a couple shots, I can kind of deal with that. But when you're not doing what you do best and being how you were for our team, you didn't score a lot,
right,
but what you brought to the table helped us and predicated it on so much of how you played. It helped us win games.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, his strength. And he didn't really get a chance to kind of exude that last game, and I think that's why the game was so dull.
Because he didn't bring the energy.
He didn't have the energy, or nobody else had it.
Yeah.
On that type of tempo style. Now, they made shots and different things. Tillery made shots and stuff, but I'm talking about that defensive end that let a team know, man, we're in for a fight tonight.
Correct.
He's that guy that does that.
Well, he had a chance. He got in.
Okay.
He got in for 5.5 minutes. His thing is he got in and instantly went to scoring mentality because he made a couple shots the previous game. Mm-hmm. He's been shooting it pretty decent in practice. So he has been putting the work in. It's just not his game to come in there and start creating and do all that stuff. He is a guy that gives you instant defensive pressure, intensity. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. If he gets a steal, a breakaway, do what he's got to do. If the ball is rotated to him and he catches it and shoots a corner 3, do what you got to do. But when he comes in the game and starts going through his legs and doing all this stuff and doing step backs, that's not his game. He is the dog in every sense of the way defensively. But when he takes shots and the balance is off on the floor, it's not the same as when Jizzle or Day takes a shot and the balance is off on the floor, because they're not known as the defensive stopper that he is. Mm-hmm. When he's in the game, his role is to shut the other player down.
He's a disruptor.
He's a disruptor.
Yeah.
If you're disrupting your own team with shot attempts, that in his mind could be a good shot.
What was the story that you always tell about when Hugs was mad at you for taking that shot and Coach Harris had to defend himself?
That was that game in Memphis.
I'm just saying that is because you just kind of put Sincere in that same category. Yeah. Like, because he was missing a couple shots, he got out of there.
I'm like,
but
I'm sure in his mind,
yeah, he like, man, I'm sure he like, man, I was working on this.
He's like, we didn't work on that. I'm like, we just literally went over this in practice. We're doing right-hand jump hooks and left-hand jump hooks.
Like, who told you to do that? And you said Coach Harris, and Coach Harris said, I didn't tell you to do. I didn't tell you how to do that.
I said, oh man, you done put under the bus. Threw me under the bus. And then as soon as that thing was over, he turned and looked and said, don't you ever be saying that stuff. He ain't trying to get in trouble. Yeah, I get it.
So, yeah, we got some interesting times coming up, man. I got
goodness.
one question for you before we end this thing.
Yeah.
So if Cincinnati sees Utah in March again, what changes?
We're figuring some things out, and I think by the time we get into the tournament, in a turnaround situation where you're playing every day, because our defense is elite, I think we take them out. And I think at any given point, we can go on a 10-0 run, no matter who we're playing. So we play Utah again. It ain't going to be the same way. It ain't going to be the 12 o'clock game. Now, we may be, it's early. It's the Big 12 tournament. We may play the first day.
Might play at 7 in the morning.
You
Where we going?
The way the Bearcats are going, when they're trending, they got a 7 o'clock in the morning game. They're
Get this over, ladies and gentlemen.
They're going to have to win 5 games to win the tournament.
Yeah.
It's possible, but it's lofty.
Yeah.
I mean, because by the time you get to Houston or whoever,
you
done played a Utah, a TCU, a Texas Tech, and then it's a gauntlet.
Yeah.
But they're capable. So to answer your question, everybody can get it. Anybody and everybody can get it.
No, that's right.
I'm Bearcats through and through, man. So, yeah, you know what? I'll be on the sideline sometimes like, what in the hell? Who's shooting it? What? But best believe, when it's over, I'm in my car jumping, listening to my clips, my Kendrick. I'm over here, my Bearcats. Like, I'm about it.
Right.
I'm about it.
Right.
Speaking about it, we are about to end this thing right here. I got my man on the wheels of steel, Chris Carper.
Another great episode, fellas. Another great episode.
Thank
you.
Legends Unplugged. We're on all platforms. Log on, watch us, subscribe, send this episode over to your friends and family. Say, hey, man, this is UC basketball. We talking about it. We are Legends Unplugged. This is a legend right here.
Let us know who you guys would like us to, our first guest should be. Give us some input on that. We'll try to make that happen.
Yeah, we'll get it going. That's Corie Blount.
Yep.
I'm Terry Nelson. Legends Unplugged. We are out.
Thank you.